Hi everyone, and welcome to the Buffett and Beyond Research Stock of the Week. And we're going over a stock you probably haven't heard of, and it's called Comfort Systems USA, and it's up over 1,854% over the past 5 years, and that doesn't count Thursday and Friday's numbers. So remember, if you want to live on this beach like Jimmy Buffett used to do, you've got to learn how to invest even better than Warren Buffett does now. And let's look at what Comfort Systems does. Well, Comfort Systems is a provider of mechanical and electrical contracting services with 169 locations in 128 cities across the United States. And its mechanical segment, which is 77% of revenue, includes heating, ventilation, air conditioning, plumbing, piping, controls, along with off-site construction. And there's that off-site construction there, folks. We are talking about AI systems, off-site construction, or we should say be talking about the build-out of the AI systems, off-site construction, monitoring, and fire protection. And finally, its electrical unit, which is 23%, includes installation and servicing of electrical systems. It has 14,000 employees, folks, so it's a pretty nice-sized company. And let us look at the stock analysis. And first thing we want to look at is the clean surplus return on equity. And those of you who don't know what clean surplus return on equity is, you have been sent the book, or just send me a note from our website and say, send me your book, and we'll send an ETF ebook right to your computer. Okay, so looking at the clean surplus ROE, think of it this way. Would you rather put your money in a bank that's paying you 13.5% or one that is paying you 36%? So that's one way of looking at the clean surplus ROE, because it's a bottom line efficiency number that we all look at, and that is what's described in the book. How do you calculate that? And it's totally different than the traditional accounting ROE, totally different. And we bring that out a lot. So we want to see in our growth portfolios, we want to see the average stock, which is 13.5% outperformed. And to get into our growth portfolio, we want an ROE, a clean surplus ROE of around 20% or better. And this stock has 36% clean surplus ROE. So yeah, that's when we start looking, when we see numbers like that. Now, net income, that is bottom line earnings, and it's the earnings without non-recurring items, which means the core operations of the company, is what net income is. And the average stock has about a 13% net income growth per year, and and this Comfort Systems 52%. Totally, almost quadrupling that of the average stock. When it comes to revenue, the average stock brings in about 7.1%, and we're talking about large cap stocks here. We're talking about the S&P plus another couple of hundred stocks. So we're not talking about stocks that are not making money. Most of these stocks are. Average revenue is 7.1%, and this company is 4 times that, folks, at 28%. And remember, you have got to have revenue in order to bring money to the bottom line, which is your net income. And Comfort System is very, very good. I mean, look at that markup there. Yeah, I had my sink drain cleaned out the other day. They had to come in with a roto-rooter type of machine, and it was almost $500. So yeah, big markup on some of these things, folks. And let's go a little bit deeper into the net income and the clean surplus ROE. Net income, again, are the core earnings of a company without any non-recurring items. And you can see that, boy, just about every year, with the exception of 2021, don't forget that was COVID in there. Everybody had to wear a mask. And then 2022 was a down year for the market, but an up year for Comfort Systems. And it's been going up ever since, because it is involved in those AI build-outs of all those buildings that are housing those computers, and this company does it all. Clean surplus ROE has been going up almost every year, and it's not going up as much as this year. into 2026. But boy, oh boy, 39% or 40% for next year, that's high. That's nice. And what we see here is the 3-year, the 5-year, and the 10-year clean surplus ROE, and we see those averages rising, and the market likes that. And what does that mean when the clean surplus ROE rises? It means that earnings are expanding at an accelerating rate, not just growing gradually each year at a nice rate. It is growing at a nice accelerated rate. Retention rate, 92%. That means 92% of everything it makes goes back into itself in order to expand. And how do you know it's putting that money to use efficiently? Go right back here to the clean surplus ROE above the average of 13%. Yeah, it's putting money back into the company efficiently. And then we went over net income growth and revenue growth in the last slide. And for 2026, it's going down a little bit, but still way ahead of the averages. And then we look over here, years to pay debt, and that's Buffett's rule of thumb. If a company takes 5 years or less to pay the debt, takes all the money it's making and just uses it to pay debt, how many years will it take to do it? Buffett's rule of thumb is 5 years. Our rule of thumb is 3 years. This company can pay off its debt in about a month. So, in other words, it has almost no debt. Very, very little dividend because it's putting all the money it makes back into the company, and that's what we'd like to see in a growth stock. We don't want to even see a dividend in a growth stock. We would like 100% retention going back into the company as long as the clean surplus ROE is high. And let's look at 1 year. Well, the black line down here is the S&P 500, up about 13% as I'm writing this. This company is up 100% this year. Wow. I mean, you can't beat that. We are looking at 7 times that of the S&P 500. And remember, over any 10-year period, 96% of professional money managers who manage those publicly traded mutual funds, 96% cannot outperform this black line down here over any 10-year rolling period. Usually about 25% a year do outperform this S&P down here, but the second year, those same 25%, only 8% of them can do it 2 years in a row, and of course over 10 years, 4% of them can outperform the S&P 500. Problem is, it's not the same 4% every year. So over 1 year, 5 times as much as the S&P 500, doing very, very well. Those are the kind of stocks we would like in our portfolio. And over 5 years, here's the market down here, up about 87% as I'm writing this. This company, Comfort Systems USA, up 1,854 points or percentage points. So again, 1,854%, and the S&P just up 87%. That is quite a difference, folks. Oh, I just want to show you one thing before we go on. This is 2022. The market, the S&P, was down 19.6%. The black line down here, down 19.6%. The NASDAQ was down 34%. This stock was up. Look, from here to here, it was up about 50% almost. So yeah, this company performed so well when the market went down. So we have a growth stock here that was also recession resistant, at least during 2022. Because don't forget, if the economy really slows down, then everything else slows down. But right now, the economy is doing pretty decent, and we like this 2022 result very much in our portfolios. That's helpful when you have a portfolio that's down for the year, but you have some stocks in it that are up for the year, like a Costco, a BJ's, AutoZone, O'Reilly Auto. You have stocks like that in the portfolio. It sure helps the portfolio along, as long as you outperform the S&P 500 over time. And we have for the past 22 years. Not every year, but 2.5 times that of the S&P on a compounded basis. We have outperformed the S&P 500 2.5 times to 1. So, folks, we had a week that was a little tough in here, ended very, very nicely. And we just want you to go out and clear your head of the market. Don't even think about it for a couple of days. Go out, be with your family, maybe have Sunday dinner. Go walk on this beach. Forget about the market. And, folks, we'll see you right back here in a couple of days.